Welcome, Valerie Huber, to our set of interviews.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
We had the chance to speak about your job and the role you play on women's health. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Yes, the Institute for Women's Health, to our knowledge, is the only pro-family, pro-life, authentic pro-women's health policy organization anywhere in the United States, and possibly anywhere. We have yet to find another one like us.
Amazing. I congratulate you. We need more organizations like yours. Right now, we're here in Mexico City standing and defending families. What are the major threats families are facing right now?
Well, I think families are being bombarded from all sides. I mean, the nuclear family unit, mom and dad and kids, it's tough to be a parent. It's difficult to, be a good husband and wife when things get tough. So that hasn't changed for generations, but it's getting increasingly more difficult because of the bombardments to the family coming in. So now mom and dad don't merely need to learn how do you change a diaper, how do you settle disputes between siblings. It's taken on a totally different level of engagement that is needed for parents to protect their kids. So that I would call those internal threats to the family. But then you have external threats to the concept of the family, which is another battle that is playing out all across the world. Center stage is certainly the US and European nations, but here in Mexico, I see it here. And it is attempting to creep in to every nation, which will have an impact on the survival of our civilization. And I don't want to overstate it, but I truly believe that, because a strong family is essential to a strong country and a strong civilization.
Let's talk about the global threats. We just discussed that there are certain global institutions that are damaging families, that are all about pro-abortion. I got to intern in the United Nations, and as a young attorney, I could not believe, the double standards, the treatment of those diplomats towards nations that are truly conservatives. How can we fight those organizations? What can we do to send the message that we want to protect life and liberty?
Well, when I was special representative for global women's health under the Trump administration, we saw that as well. In fact, I'll never forget that we were negotiating a resolution, and we wanted to include a provision in a resolution on children that would say how important it is for parents to be involved in their children's lives. And a country stood up and said, we can't have that. That is a red line for our country. And I thought, what can be controversial about putting something about families and parents in a resolution that is, after all, about children? I learned later that the reason that they took such a strong stance was because they said the family undercuts the autonomy of the individual. Now think about that for a moment. Is this really where we have come? But when I spent more time at the United Nations and in Geneva at the World Health Organization and at OAS, I saw that countries were continuously under pressure to change their laws. They were intimidated into silence. And they were not even permitted, really, to do what the beauty of the United Nations should be in its founding. And that is, every country has a voice. Every country has one vote. And the reason that diplomats are there is to represent their country's values, cultures, beliefs. They're at the United Nations in protection of their own sovereignty. And they're not being permitted to do that. And so we were so happy to be able to work with several other countries to begin the first ever coalition of nations to support health for women, saying there is no international right to abortion. The family is foundational to society. And by the way, it's up to the countries to decide. There's something called sovereignty. International organizations, other countries, you have no reason or right to be interfering in the internal affairs of other governments on these issues. So this coalition of countries has 36 countries right now representing every region of the world, countries who have agreed to work together on these issues. And we have regional leaders. The US was one of them, but unfortunately, on day 8 of the Biden administration, he communicated that those values that I just mentioned are no longer the values of this administration. Egypt, Hungary, Indonesia, and Uganda are all regional. So this is a powerful first ever coalition to stand up against that bullying. That's never been done before.
That's amazing. But I really appreciate your time, and I hope we stay in touch. There is much that we need to do, the media, the leaders, the activists. I think if we stay united, we can change a little bit and improve the world. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you.